receipt. I'm going to get you a $5,000 tax deduction for the next 40 years, every year. And not only that, if you make property gains on that, you will only pay tax on 50% of the property gains. You'd have to listen to that, wouldn't you? Sure. Because if I can get your tax rate down from 45 cents to possibly 30 cents, so instead of every second day you hit the alarm clock, it's every third day. That's not bad. Who's happy with that? Anyone happy with that? No one. All got cash businesses, I can see. What about zero tax? Is that better? I've got a couple of nods there. Zero tax. You believe it exists?
Yes.
I'm going to show you how you pay zero tax on wealth creation. No tax. Not one razoo. I'll come back to that zero tax, please remind me. The greatest mind of all times said interest was man's greatest invention and most powerful force. So this is how it works. He's so infatuated with it that he came up with the rule of 72. Don't ask me why it's 72 over interest rate. I'm not going to question the greatest mind of all time. But I try and teach my little daughter that, along with the bad habits, so that if she gets a 7.2 return on her money, she's going to double her money every 10 years. 72 divided by 7.2 is every 10 years. If she gets a 6% return on her money, she's going to double her money every 12 years. See how it works? And so on. That is very powerful. If there's one thing tonight, you should understand leverage. Now I'll show you how it works. Let's say I give everyone in the room 100 grand, and I'll say to you, I don't care what you invest in, I'm going to give you 10%. I'm going to give you $100,000, and you're going to invest it either in cash, in shares, or in property. You're going to get 10%. Let's just humour me for a minute. So with the people who select cash, just in your own mind, anyone select cash? They're going to give you $10,000. Well, in reality, we know it's going to be $2,000. That's why the banks are making record profits. Or $10,000. The people that invested in shares, the bank will give you 50% on your money. So they'll loan you 50%. So you're actually investing 200 grand. At 10%, you'll make 20 grand. With property, they give you 4 times. That's why they're very comfortable with it. The banker gives you a smiley grin because they're comfortable with property. That's why they give you 90%. So with property, leveraging 10%, 50 grand, as opposed to keeping your money in the bank. Is that clear? Now with property, I can take that money back out, that capital, and not pay any tax on that 50 grand. So I put my money into the property goes up in value, I've taken my money back out, I haven't sold my property, so it's tax-free, yeah? I've taken my capital back out, I've gone off to my next venture, my property's still going guns for leather, and I haven't paid 1 cent tax on it. But with cash and shares, you are taxed on your earnings. Okay, let's see how it works. So this was an example of a lady back in 2004 who was a farmer, and I've just filled in the figures. 2004, she bought a property in Melbourne for $350,000, and she borrowed $300,000. Now that was a lot of money in 2004, wasn't it? You think that there was a few other things she wanted to do on the farm? I bet you there's a list a mile long. But she was gutsy enough to have a go. Now, property goes in booms and busts. If she wanted to, what I said before, she would have revalued that property at that point and taken her 50 grand that she put on the table. She could have taken that back out and gone off and done something else. She decided not to. Years later, she retired, and in fact, she had pretty much paid the loan down. I've just shown it as an interest-only loan, so that loan was down there. Got a little bit owing on it. That 650,000 plus other assets that she sold to the farm got it to the magic million. Now why the magic million? Because if I go to the bank or if I go to Trix and say here's $1 million and he invests it in shares and property and whatever else, it's pretty easy to get 6%. I think we're getting at the moment 12 plus. But let's say it's pretty easy to get 6%. So if I'm getting 60 grand a year, tax free, because that's what we did, we invested it in a pension for her. So she's getting every year fruit from the tree, $60,000. The tree hasn't been cut down, it's still $1 million. She's getting that money every year tax free with one property. Does that make sense? So recycling capital, learn that. Get your money on the table. First you ask the question, how secure is it? Never ever risk your capital. I just speaking to someone this week, they loaned someone $120,000 on the basis that this person was going to give them a 15% return. Lost it. So I don't want to go too far into numbers. There's a lot of numbers up there. I just want to quickly show you how it works. Yeah. So I'm not sure if they've turned the aircon on or the heater up. It's really funny. Or is it just me? This is what we're doing with properties at the moment. So Melbourne properties, we don't like country town properties, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But Melbourne properties seem to be doing very well, and we'll show you the history of Melbourne properties in a second. So when a client comes in, we'll do a property investment analysis. So we'll pick a property and we'll punch in the figures, 400,000, sorry guys, I'm cutting across you now, $400,000. And the rule of 72 that I explained before, there it is there. So we're saying a 6% capital growth. And that property will double in 12 years. Seems a bit too hard to believe. The people that we said, the people that we were asked about Richmond in 2002, I think it was, they bought property in 2002 for 180 grand. They're now getting 650,000 for the same property. That's, you know, we asked him, this particular chap, we asked him, would you believe that you would get 600 plus for this property if we said to you back in 2002, you're going to get $600,000 in 10, 12 years' time? He said, no bloody way. So that's what's happening at the moment. So the loan stays the same. This guy put in 40 grand, which is probably not enough, because you get mortgage insurance if you're under 90%. Capital growth 6%. So his equity in 10 years' time should be 325,000 if it's the right property, and we get a 6% capital growth. Now I said 6%. Before I said 7.2. But property has done 11% over the last 10 years. So how quick can you double your money? Do that sum yourself. 72 divided by 11, I don't know what that is. I think it's about 6.5 years you double your money. Okay, so I just want to show you three things. When we punched all this in, interest rates are the lowest they've ever been. The client gets $350 a week for this particular property. Interest rates, we put them in at 6%, so we made some assumptions. Now, because it's a newer style building, you can claim the building for 40 years, 2.5% on the building, every year. Every year you can claim 2.5%. So that's a tax deduction of $5 grand a year for 40 years. You can also claim all the fixtures and fittings in the building. So that gives you a tax deduction as well. So this particular client is out of pocket $12,000 because the rent less the interest is out of pocket 12 grand. But by the time he claims all the tax deductions, he's only out of pocket $4,000. So the tax man will give you refunds that you can get in your pocket each week. So this particular person is out of pocket $92 a week, $4,700 or $92 a week. His tax refund is $8 grand, by the way. So that's $8 grand he never had. That $8 grand just goes to Tony. He gets $92 a week, and his capital growth is $300,000. How long would it take you to save $300,000? So throwing the monkey, you pay for a slice, the tenant pays for a big slice, and the taxman pays for a slice. That's how you leverage. That's the key to leverage. Are there any questions on that? I know it's pretty hot, but I just don't want to
Is that new property, Gary?
New property. New property. Property, that's a good question. After 1985, otherwise you won't be able to claim your building. Chocolate. 1985, otherwise you won't be able to claim the depreciation of the building, and you lose your tax effectiveness. Now, we apply and we get that refund back weekly, so you don't have to wait till the end of the year. You know the $7,000 refund? You don't have to wait until the end of the year, you'll get it back weekly in your file. Now I'll show you how quickly, and again lots of numbers here, but how 3 properties can get you to that magic million. There's the first property, you can see it steps up to the second property, and you step up to the third property. Now, this is an actual case. I've changed the numbers a little bit. So the first property you had a deposit of $40,000. His debt was $260,000. Out of pocket, OOP, out of pocket, $154. There's that 10% I'm talking about. He was on a wage of about 80 grand. That's a decent wage. He was finding 154 grand. Do you think that guy delayed that instant gratification to do that? I'm sure he did. I'm sure there's lots of things that he wanted to do, but he said, no, this is important. By the end of year 3, he was ready to buy his third property. By the end of year 3, he was ready to buy his second property. Now, at that stage, his first property had gone up in value, so he didn't have to save another $60,000. He redrew on the first property and put in 20 grand. He was then out of pocket $226 a week. Now, the bankers won't loan you more than 80%, so the loan value ratio 80%. So you can see the loan value ratio is getting better and better. The properties were the right properties, and they increased in value by about 6 to 8%. These 3 properties, 6 to 8%. So Melbourne, believe it or not, how much do you reckon Melbourne has gone up? No, we'll start with Sydney. How much do you reckon Sydney's gone up over the last 25 years? Any? Just have a guess for me. 40? 40? Yeah, any more? How much? 120%. Any more? Higher?
25 years, 500.
500? Higher? 620%. Melbourne has actually better. Melbourne has done better than the last 25 years. I'll show you the graph. 625%. We're the dearest. We pay more for property than almost any country in the world. It's ridiculous. Now the Chinese have got the stiff, and they are just going hell for leather. The other day in my office, the hair on the back of my neck stood up where, and I'll try and tell you where this location is, so it's a little tip. It wasn't a setup, it was a gentleman who came to me and through a conversation with someone else, he asked, he said, is Mr. Young wants 50 units. Now, what he was talking about, he wanted to buy 50 blocks of land in this particular place in Melbourne. Not 1 block of land, 50 blocks of land. So that's what's going on at the moment. They'll come in and they'll say, right, I want to buy that subdivision. They are just going for listing. And our regulations, there's nothing wrong with it, I suppose, but our regulations are doing nothing to control them. So it's actually just pumping prices through the roof. So you can see what's happened here. The loans are red, and the properties are increasing in value. So the properties are now 900,000, the loan is around 400,000, and the equity, the properties are worth 1.7 mil, the loans were 920, and the equity was 860,000 with 3 properties. Not far from the view stage. Now, people will say to me, what do you reckon the property market will do? It's already had its run. There was a photo in Sydney of an old man with a walking stick, and the caption underneath was, "He's waiting for property to come down." And I thought, how true is that? We all sit on the sidelines waiting for the next boom or bust, and meanwhile it goes by. So 250,000 debt, 900,000 debt in the end, but he's got huge equity. That should have been 57,000 equity back there. Started with 57,000 equity, finished up with 860. It says 860 equity in the end. Impossible to save. Saving does not work. So we're saying you need to think like an investor first. If your internal speak's not right, forget it. You're never going to take that investment because your neighbour's lost money on that money. Your neighbour has lost money on that investment, or you didn't come from money. If you don't get that right first, it won't work. So the first thing you've got to do within their foundation model is think like an investor. The second thing you've got to do is take 10 to 30% of what you earn, and you've got to put it to action. You won't learn it by reading books, or by going to school, or by, you've got to have a go. Your lunch money will be enough to get you started. A lot of people, we show them how they use their first house. Just quickly, a lot of people say, "Oh, I bought my house." And I'm a bit worried because I bought this first house and it's got a debt on it, and I'm going to pay this debt off. And then I'm going to try and buy my second house. And this one's going to have no debt, and this one's going to have a huge debt. Can I transfer that debt? Has anyone thought of this before? Can I transfer that debt to this new rental property? How do you think the tax office would go with that?
You won't be happy.
They're not happy at all. But a lot of people try and do that. The answer is no. We stopped that about 10, 15 years ago. So what we try and do is we have an offset account. So we set up a little offset account. We say, don't pay your debt. If you know you're going to be an investor, leave your debt where it is. Have a little offset account where you tip into the offset account. Leave the debt where it is. If that makes sense. And then, when you buy your new property, here's your savings that goes off. You'll have your debt. Your debt will be exactly where it was. Your offset account will then go on to deposit for your new residence, and that will catapult you into the investment market, okay? Or young people at least, so that they might have a stepping stone where they use their first property as their residence, their second property becomes their residence, and we transfer the debt. Okay? So the second thing is to have a go. The second thing is to have a go. The third thing is to own $1 million worth of capital, which is about 3 properties. You get people to do that. And the last one is to receive, when you know you're really a gun, to receive $1 million in cash flow. Possible? Let me tell you, these strategies I'm telling you tonight, when I started in business, my business was for my lifestyle. I've heard that a million times. I wish I had $1 for it every time I heard it. My business is there to create a better lifestyle. Well, I heed that advice, and I did my 10 to 30%, and not to impress you, but I bought one property a year for the last 20 years, at least, actually more. So this strategy works. It's not something I've dreamed up. It works, and I don't tell you that to impress you, but rather to impress on you that the strategy works. It's simple. It's simple. Take 10% of your bottom line, put it in cash flow. So receiving $1 million is not out of the question. Obviously, you need criteria that help you identify potential deals. You can't just, like a lot of people say to me, I went to Buxton and I did what you said, I bought that property, and I was having an ice cream, I seen the auction sign, and I went in there and I brought them out of the water, and this is a true, that's a true story, that. And I said, how many people in Buxton? They said, there's about 500 people in Buxton. I said, well, you'd be waiting a while for some growth. Because you need to know what drives that capital growth. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting stagnant.